Okay, I'm back. I don't know if it said my hold on. I was kind of fooling around with it. Oh yeah, I've already gone through this stuff. Okay. Basically, it's what Lewis was recording, so I don't know. He'll probably text back. Okay. Log documents. Log 6. Dear Smith, mute. Okay, this is kind of loud. Smith Koyoung Sam. I don't know why you insist on putting this all in writing when we could just have a perfectly good conversation. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to do it. Whatever you want, you're the man. I just think it's a little weird. I don't really get it. Anyway, as to your question, you're spot on, the pale bride being the focus of attention in the royal family. Not for the reasons you wanted, though. I don't know where you heard those rumors, but they are so not true. That girl, a troublemaker. No way. I don't see it. Like, it's not even convincing as a rumor. The girl's the most polite, most obedient person I've ever seen in my entire life. The idea of her fighting with her husband is completely unimaginable. In over a month, I've never so much as heard her raise her voice in disagreement. She's quiet, courteous, and does everything she's told without even the slightest hesitation. I'm sorry, but there's just no way you could possibly exploit any drama here. This is as undramatic a situation as it gets, especially not compared to what the situation with your cousin and that courtesan. Don't get me wrong, she bugs the hell out of me. The girl's just too perfect. She's young, she's beautiful, she's demure to the point where I don't even think she has a personality of her own. But she also gets along perfectly with the queen. Of course, she commands all the attention of the emperor. Like, can you blame him? I'm sorry, but there's no way he's ever going to be anything but extremely grateful to the Kim family for giving her over. Written by mute. Whoops, I'm sorry. I don't know how that got in there. Yeah, don't pay any attention to that. Sorry. None of that really matters. I'll just go ahead and remove that. Really, I'm not normally this much of a klutz. I swear. Okay. Oh no, I'm pausing. Okay, nothing happened. Nothing at all. Just texting back. Okay. So, let's go to block 9. The new heir, Kim Young-suk. Don't make fun of me if I say this wrong. I don't mean to. When he died this year, my father was an absolute nobody. I don't say this to disrespect his honor. It's the complete opposite. He knew it, and that was far worse fate than he ever deserved. Darn it! Weather patrol thingy, go away. I don't care. Doesn't look like it's gonna be bad weather, but with Hurricane Sandy, is it? You never know what this is traveling over here. I don't even know if I think it's done. I don't know. Okay, sorry, I'm getting off track. Okay. It wasn't until I was maybe 16 that I even realized we were supposed to be from a noble family. Certainly, we never had much means. Father was a minor official in the interior decks and spent his last days dealing with minor peasant disputes. Of all things, peasant disputes? What the poverty we lived in, no wonder it never really sank in that we were of noble blood. Not until I met the main family for the first time. They were proud, despite the fact that I now realized that they were suffering from our same lack of royal favor. But I could tell the difference. They hadn't given up. Their son was still alive at the time, and even though he was a child half my age, I couldn't believe his confidence. It put us to shame. Absolutely put us to shame. But their son died later that year, and my father died just a few months ago. I didn't know what we were going to do, but Mother managed to convince Sister's husband to adopt me into the main Kim family. I don't think it took much. So now I'm heir, just like that, Kim Jung-soo's adopted son. Not that I have time or position to be proud, but having spoken sincerely with my new father, I think we're on the same page. I'm going to study furiously, and I'm going to become a scholar, official. What I didn't tell him was my ambition. I won't settle for any peasant's job. I'll be better than that. I'm not going to stop until I manage to fulfill my father's dream. High magistrate. I won't settle. I will not settle. I think Jung-soo expects me to disappoint him, but I damn well will not. If I'm heir of the Kim family, I'm not going to let him down. He wants prosperity, I'll give it to him. More importantly, I'm never going to let any other Kim son feel like his family doesn't get the recognition, or whatever, recognition, it deserves. Never again. I swear on my ancestors. Never again. Show the message. Well, I suppose I can give you more about young Seok. I don't know. I don't think you'll really find him very interesting. But here, you can see for yourself. Oh, pause. Nothing happened. Okay. Young Seok's wife. Dearest mother, finally, I believe young Seok has grown comfortable with his knee. All it took was some time for me to earn his trust. Learning how to read by watching over my husband's shoulders and how I envisioned spending my first year of marriage. Good Lord, what is wrong with me? I can't complain about anything that makes me spend so much time with him, though. We've talked and decided we won't try for a son right away. Not now. He's just not ready for it. That aside, things are good. If this is what married life is like, I think I can be happy with this. We're getting along well, and I like him. Perhaps it's not quite what I was led to expect, but it's still good. Domestic bliss indeed. Last week, young Seok was reading over some papers for a dispute that Magistrate Park was deciding on. You wouldn't understand the details, but it was essentially an argument between a farmer and his lord over some of money after a particularly poor harvest. I think I would tell the magistrate that the farmer is right. His claim is fair, he told me. Might I take a look? I asked. Amused, he handed the papers to me. It took a good while of studying, just to be sure. After all, I wouldn't want to contradict my husband if he was right. The farmer's numbers didn't seem to add up. I pointed this out to him. He not only listened patiently, but had me explain. Then you believe the farmer is trying to cheat his lord? He asked. I did. That's what I will report then. The next day he told me that the magistrate agreed. And ever since then, he has started to reply on my opinion when it comes to anything involving math. To be totally honest with you, I don't really know what she's talking about here, at all. The math thing wasn't really considered very odd at the time. That's woman's work. It's just natural. Maybe it's a little weird, but she's helping with external matters, but, well, it's not that weird. The part about learning to read isn't that amazing either. It might be beneficially frowned upon, but learning to read by looking over a brother or husband's shoulder was really, really common. She's making a big deal out of nothing. Well, I guess that's a 15-year-old woman. That's 15-year-old woman for you. What? Fine. Make fun of me like that. Not saying I'm the person, it's just a 15-year-old woman. You know, I'm a teenager. And it's weird. Just weird. How could people, like, at such a young age get married? It's so wrong. Okay, next one. While it's true that it might be, as my wife suggests, alarmingly serious, it's hard to argue with enjoying a nice meal out of its means. Cultivating Magistrate's Park trusts even more. Just having the invitation alone is a pretty good sign. I assumed we would be going to his house after finishing with the day's affairs, but instead he led the other way. Oh, you do not want to visit there. My son has a newborn child who is very, very unconducive to entertaining guests, I'm afraid. He said with a laugh. Surely you'll understand instead. Instead, we headed for the plaza. Outside of the occasional New Year's festivals, when I was a child, I had never actually been there before. I never had much of an eye for details at the time, so I was surprised to see now how richly decorated everything was. For what was essentially a giant market, beautiful floral arrangements adorned every stall, wall, and partition, and rather than the commotion of the crowd, all I could hear was the sound of peaceful music. It was still, of course, a market. There were no merchants loudly hawking wares, and some of the prices on the signs I saw would make the emperor rush. In that atmosphere, we ate together at a public house that defied my expectations. The food was both plentiful and far better than anything I had ever had in either of my houses. If this sounds indulgent, it absolutely is. I definitely don't plan on telling anyone the details like this. The only thing I plan to repeat from this evening is what the magistrate confided to me. That when he was moved from his position, he'd like to recommend me to fill his place. I'd be young for the position, but it would be a great stepping stone to the one I'm dreaming of. I remained calm, since I'm good at that, but it's best news I've heard in my entire life. The plaza sounds like a really interesting place, doesn't it? I mean, I wouldn't really know personally, but as I understand it was the big place for celebrating festivals, and really surprising to see. You leave one on the few tiny modern stark white corridors that leads to it, then suddenly there's this huge open space, with all sorts of colorful signs